Hello Internet, Judge here, or as my YouTube channel would suggest, the Mighty Scrub. Today I shall be covering what it takes to be a competitive fire mage in 4.3 PvE. Starting with the very basics, the spec. The two appropriate for fire mages in this content can currently be seen on the screen. The one on the left is more area of effect centric, and the one on the right is more focused on mana efficiency and survivability, but at the cost of any real AoE versatility. As for glyphs, the three prime that are recommended for Dragon Soul bosses are Glyph of Pyroblast, Molten Armor, and Fireball. As for major glyphs, none directly increase your damage output, but I would recommend Blink, Invisibility, and Evocation. Reforging as a fire mage is very simple. Your first goal is to reach the hit cap of 17%, a rating of 1742. Following this, you should reach a haste plateau of 2005 before any raid buffs. Lastly, provided that these two rules have been met, you should stack as much crit as possible, with mastery and haste being our worst stats respectively. If you lack the gear to reach 2005 haste, I suggest you skip the second rule and simply ensure that you have reached the hit cap and then maximize your crit. Gemming is also simple. Your goal is to use as many Brilliant Queen Garnets and Inferno Rubies as possible, only matching a set bonus if the substitution of a single red gem yields 20 or more intellect. For example, in these cases, either use an int crit or int hit gem. The rotation for a fire mage is not so much a series of buttons as it is a priority list that must be adhered to before you may cast Fireball. Top of the list is the application of the debuff Critical Mass. As such, Scorch should be used as your opening ability. This is because both Pyroblast and Scorch refresh the duration of the debuff. Second is using a Hot Streak proc, aka Insta Pyroblast. Third is the use of Flame Orb. Fourth is the application of Living Bomb. Note, do not cast this spell on a target that already has it applied. This is because a large portion of Living Bomb's damage comes from an explosion at the end of the dot duration. On the proviso that all of these prerequisites are met, you may cast Fireball. The DPS cooldown mirror images can be used at the end of any Fireball cast. Combustion is unlike any other DPS cooldown in the game. Instead of increasing an attribute such as haste or crit, it adds a secondary damage over time effect to the target based off the amount of damage your primary dots of Living Bomb, Ignite, and Pyroblast are currently doing. An example of how it works is, if Living Bomb is ticking for 8,000 damage, Ignite for 15, and Pyroblast for 3, then Combustion will have a base amount of 10,000 damage. However, the actual damage done will be substantially larger, as Combustion scales with both haste and spell power, and has the option, thanks to a recent hotfix, to crit. AoE is carried out through four main abilities: Blast Wave, Flame Strike, Dragon's Breath, and most importantly, Impact. Blast Wave and Flame Strike do immediate damage to an area of effect and cause any enemy who stands in the affected area to take damage over time. Dragon's Breath is similar to Cone of Cold in that it does damage to a cone of effect immediately in front of the player. Impact is very different. If talented into, whenever you deal damage, you have a chance to cause your next Fire Blast to spread all of your dots on the target, including Combustion, to all nearby enemies. For AoE, you should follow your normal priority list for single target damage, except now, using Impact whenever available, as well as Dragon's Breath on cooldown, and either a Blast Wave or Flame Strike every 8 seconds. Finally, the add-ons that I recommend specifically for fire mages are Combustion Helper and My Big Ignite to help guess the amount of damage that Combustion will do, Quartz for cast bars, as well as Weak and Power Auras for buffs and debuffs. Thank you for watching the entirety of my vid. I hope in some way it has helped you become a better mage.